Story number 1. I've driven the I-47 stretch through West Virginia more times than I can count. I'm a long-haul night driver. I haul food and cold storage from the Northeast to the Mid-South. I've got the route memorized, the turns predictable, the exits burned into my brain. There's no exit 13 on I-47. I know that for a fact. But last Tuesday, at 2:46 a.m., exit 13 appeared. It wasn't sudden, it felt expected in a way. The green sign came up out of the mist like it had always been there. Exit 13. Ashford Hollow, 1 mile. There's no Ashford Hollow. I would have known. I chalked it up to highway maintenance, maybe installing new off-ramps. Still, curiosity got the better of me. I was making good time. I figured I'd pull off, find a gas station, stretch my legs. So I took it. Immediately, I regretted it. The ramp spiraled down far longer than it should have. Farther than any exit I'd ever seen. At least a mile. The pavement was cracked. Old. No lights. The yellow lines faded to bone-white scratches. And then it just dumped me onto a 2-lane road surrounded by forest so dense it looked like black velvet on both sides. No signs. No buildings. Just a narrow stretch of nowhere. Still, I drove on. Then, about 3 miles in, my radio turned itself on. I hadn't touched it since leaving Ohio. I hadn't even realized it worked. Just static all the way through. But now it was whispering. Not music. Not talk radio. Just whispering. Fast. Nonsensical. In and out of frequencies. Don't stop. She's in the trees. Keep your eyes on the road. Too late. Too late. I reached for the dial, dead. The buttons didn't work. Then the whispers stopped. And a new voice came through, loud and clear. You took the wrong road. I slammed the brakes. My headlights caught something crossing the road ahead. Slowly. It wasn't a deer. It was a woman. Except she wasn't walking. She was floating about 3 inches above the ground. Her head jerked toward me, and in the beams, I saw her face. Hollow, like a wax sculpture left to melt. Empty eye sockets, black gums. Lips pulled into a stretched, silent scream. She drifted across the road and vanished into the trees. I floored it. But no matter how fast I went, the road stretched endlessly. My GPS flickered, showing no road name, no signal, just a spinning compass. Then the fog rolled in. Thick, wet, heavy. My headlights couldn't cut through it. I slowed down and noticed figures on either side of the road. Just barely visible. Standing between the trees. Watching. Not moving. They all looked the same. Tall, thin, heads tilted, mouths open too wide. My headlights caught movement behind me in the rear view. I looked. The woman from the road was on the roof of my truck. Her face was upside down, staring into the cab through the windshield, pressed flat against the glass like a spider. Her mouth moved, but there was no sound. Then I blinked, and she was gone. I don't remember making the turn, but suddenly, the road curved, and I saw another sign. Return to the road or stay forever. And then, exit 13, last chance. I didn't hesitate. I cranked the wheel, tires screaming against the cracked asphalt, and somehow the road curved again, impossibly, and I found myself back on I-47. Just like that. It was 6:01 a.m. I'd been on exit 13 for over 3 hours. My fuel was full. My GPS rebooted. My radio was dead. And there was a handprint on the inside of my windshield. Long, clawed fingers, like melted wax. I've never found exit 13 again. I drove that same route the next week, and there was nothing between exit 12 and 14. But sometimes, late at night, my CB crackles on its own. And a voice whispers, "Wrong turn," and my rearview mirror shows the fog creeping in from behind. I never stop driving now. Not until sunrise. Never again. Story number 2. I've been driving the highways for almost 15 years, mostly nights. Long stretches of empty road, headlights cutting through nothing but blackness. I've seen a lot of strange things, but nothing like what happened on Highway 191 last October. I was heading through Arizona on a night run from Flagstaff to Douglas. I'd taken that road a dozen times. It's a quiet route, long and winding, with cliffside curves and blind turns through the desert mountains. The kind of place that feels like it doesn't want you there. It was around 1:20 a.m. when I saw headlights behind me. Two bright beams, far off but approaching steadily. At first, I didn't think much of it. Just another driver making time through the dark. But about 15 minutes later, I noticed the lights were still behind me. Same distance, never getting closer, never backing off. Just hovering behind me like they were watching. I slowed down. They slowed down too. I sped up to 80. They stayed exactly the same distance behind. No matter what I did, they wouldn't pass. I thought maybe it was a tailgater messing around, so I flipped my lights off and on. They blinked theirs back in perfect sync. Not high beams, just a copy. Like a mirror. That's when I noticed something wrong. I couldn't see the vehicle behind the lights. No grille, no outline of a hood or roof. Just two lights floating in the black. Like eyes in the dark. Too high to be a car. Too narrow for a truck. Then they began to move. Not forward. Side to side. Like they were swaying. I took the next curve fast, tires whining, and watched in the mirror. The lights tilted with me. Only I hadn't seen them make the turn. They just reappeared after the bend. Still the exact same distance behind me. I was deep in the canyon stretch now. No towns. No exits. Just road and stone and night. The air got heavy. My ears popped like we were dropping altitude. My windshield fogged from the inside, even though the AC was off. Then the radio came on by itself. White noise. A burst of static. Then, "Don't look back." I slammed the power button. Nothing. The static stayed. "Don't look back. Don't let them see you." I threw the radio faceplate off the dash. Dead silence. When I looked in the mirror again, the lights were closer. Maybe 20 yards. Still no car. Just light. I could see the outline of my trailer in the glow. Then, all at once, every warning light on my dash lit up red: check engine, oil, battery, everything. The truck lurched hard to the right, almost off the road. I fought the wheel and regained control, heart racing. That's when my CB crackled to life. No one should have been on this stretch, and I hadn't touched the mic in hours. But a voice came through, clear and low. "You shouldn't have looked." I slammed the brakes and pulled off to the side. The lights behind me stopped, too. Dead silent. No engine hum. No dust cloud. Just waiting. I opened the door and stepped down into the dirt. No lights. I looked up. They were above me. Floating 20 feet in the air, pointed down. Two massive white beams with nothing between them. And then, slowly, they began to separate. Widening. Stretching across the sky like the parting eyes of some colossal thing. And in the center, for the first time, I saw it. Something tall. Wrong. Humanoid, but stretched and broken. Its arms were too long. Its legs bent backward at the knee. Its face was pale and eyeless. And its mouth. God, that mouth. Stretched from jaw to chest. Full of teeth that never ended. It stood in the space between the beams. And then the lights vanished. And it was gone. I was standing on the side of an empty highway, heart hammering. Not a sound in the world but my own breath. I got back in the truck, turned the key, started like normal. All the dash lights were off. The radio was dead. The CB was silent. I drove until sunrise. I never saw the lights again. But now, every time I pass that stretch of 191, my mirrors fog up. And if I don't wipe them, I swear I can see them behind me. Not headlights, just eyes. And something that remembers me. Story number 3. There's a stretch of Highway 50 in Nevada that truckers call the loneliest road in America. It's not just because it's empty for miles, or because you can drive for 3 hours without passing another soul. It's because of what happens near mile marker 313. No one will tell you straight, but everyone who's driven that route at night has a story. This one is mine. I was hauling aluminum eastbound, cutting through the desert past midnight, trying to make it to Ely before dawn. It was my first time alone on the 50, and my dispatcher warned me, "If you break down near 313, don't stop. Keep driving. No matter what." I thought he was joking. Superstitious trucker crap. But something in his voice stuck with me. I'd passed 280, then 290. My coffee was wearing off. The road was flat, barren, just headlights bouncing off sand and brush. The moon hung low, and the radio had long since given up. I was surrounded by absolute silence. At exactly 3:13 a.m., my dash flickered. The lights dimmed. The engine hiccuped, coughed, then kept going. That's when I saw it, mile marker 313. And beside it, standing in the brush, was a man. No car, no flashlight, just a man in jeans and a torn white shirt, standing barefoot, arms slack at his sides, face pointed directly at my truck. I gripped the wheel tighter. Something about him looked off, his limbs too long, skin too pale, like wax stretched over wire. I sped up. He didn't move. But the further I drove, the more I realized something deeply wrong. He was still beside me. No matter how far I went, every time I glanced out the passenger window, I saw him. Still standing in the same pose at the same distance from the truck, perfectly matching my speed. Like the road was on a loop and he was part of it. I hit 75, then 80, still there. Then he smiled. It wasn't human. It wasn't even physical, it was like a distortion, as if the air itself had split into the shape of a grin. His face didn't move, but I could feel the smile. That's when the engine died. Just cut out. My truck rolled to a stop near a turnout. Everything went dark. The desert swallowed the silence. I locked the doors, tried the ignition. Nothing. That's when I heard it. Knock, 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 on the passenger side window. I didn't look. I didn't breathe. Then, knock, 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 knock. Faster. Desperate. Not like a man. Like something trying to get in, something that didn't understand how. Then a voice, low, dry, like leaves being blown across a microphone. Let me ride. Just a mile. The cab filled with cold. Ice cold. My breath frosted the windshield. I shut my eyes. Another voice came from the CB, even though it had no power. Don't open your eyes. A scream rattled the frame of the truck. High-pitched, layered. Not a human scream, but something pretending to be one. The knocking turned to scratching. Metal on glass. Nails too long and sharp. Then silence. 5 minutes. 10. I don't know. Finally, the engine turned over on its own. All the lights came back. The temperature normalized. I opened my eyes. The windows were clear. The man was gone. I drove. Fast. I didn't stop again until I reached Ely. When I got to the truck stop, the guy behind the counter took one look at me and said, "You passed 313 at night, didn't you?" I nodded. He handed me a small object. A melted silver coin with a hole burned through the middle. "They leave a mark," he said. "That's your warning. Next time they'll try the door." I still keep the coin on my dash. And now, every time I approach mile marker 313, I take a detour. Even if it adds 2 hours to my route. Because I know if I pass that spot again at night, and if the truck stalls again, I might open the door and let it ride. Just a mile. But that's all it needs. Story number 4. It was 2:39 a.m. when I first saw her. I was hauling a refrigerated trailer down Route 6 in rural Pennsylvania. I'd taken the route hundreds of times. Smooth road, light traffic, no-way stations, just endless blacktops slicing through thick pine woods and sleepy towns. It was the kind of route you could drive with your eyes closed. Until that night. Fog had rolled in like a slow tide, thick and low, making it hard to see more than 10 feet ahead. My headlights barely cut through it. I slowed to 40, knuckles tight on the wheel. The road narrowed as I came up around the bend near Black Hollow Creek, a place locals said was cursed. I didn't believe that sort of thing. Not until I saw her. A girl, standing on the side of the road, barefoot, wearing a tattered white nightgown, long black hair hanging in wet ropes down her back. Her arms hung at her sides, unmoving. She wasn't trying to hitch a ride, just standing, watching. I passed her, heart thudding. 5 seconds later, my headlights caught her again. Same girl, same spot, except this time, she was closer to the road. I blinked, kept going. Then I saw her a third time, Now she was in the center of the road. I swerved hard and blasted the horn. The truck roared past empty space. She was gone. Not hit. Just vanished. I didn't stop. Not even to check. I knew better. Then my CB crackled to life. Dead channel. No one was near me. But a voice came through anyway. She walks until someone takes her home. Then silence. I turned off the CB. The fog got worse. Like I was driving through smoke. My lights reflected back at me. It was disorienting. Like the road was folding in on itself. I slowed to 30, then 20, until I was crawling, just trying to stay on the pavement. Then I saw her again. Inside my cab. In the passenger seat. Head turned. Eyes wide and glassy. Mouth just slightly open. I screamed. Nearly jerked the wheel off the road. But when I turned to look, she was gone. The seatbelt was buckled. My door had frost around the edges. I checked my mirrors. And there she was, walking behind my truck, in the center of the road, barefoot, keeping pace at 20 miles per hour. Her arms moved like puppets, jerky and stiff. Her head twitched with each step, mouth now open far too wide. I floored it. The truck jumped forward, engine growling. 40 miles per hour. 60. 80. I didn't stop until the fog cleared. About 10 miles later, near a truck stop I knew in Bradford County. I pulled in, jumped out, heart hammering, looking around like a madman. Nothing. No sign of her. But the passenger door was ajar. Just slightly. And on the dashboard was a damp handprint. Child-sized. I didn't sleep that night. I told the guy working the graveyard shift what I saw. He didn't laugh. He just nodded and said, "You saw her. The girl from Black Hollow. Some say she died there in the 70s. Bus crash. Others say she was murdered. Doesn't matter. She's been walking that road ever since." I asked why she got in. He said, "She only climbs in if you look in the mirror more than twice." I had looked 4 times. He handed me a pack of salt and a broken rosary. "Sprinkle the salt across the cab. Hang the rosary. She hates the smell of both. Won't ride with you again." I followed his advice. But sometimes when I pass Black Hollow, especially on foggy nights, my radio crackles, and I hear breathing, soft, slow, like someone's sitting beside me again, waiting for me to take her home, just once, so she can finally stop walking. But I never stop, and I never, ever look in the mirror.